What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. Now, there's a disclaimer to this. Obviously, reality, probably never going through these bottles. I've got an absurd amount of fragrances. The likelihood of me going through these bottles in particular in this video are low, but highly possible. Because the point is I like them that much that I gravitate to them for different seasons, different situations. They're at the top of my list when I'm looking for certain fragrances and they fit that particular style. They're usually the first or second choice. So I reach for them. I like them. I spray them. They never get old to me. So if I was to run through these bottles, these are the ones that I would undoubtedly want to rebuy and get again. See where I'm going with this? A little complicated, more than it needs to be, but got to give you the game, you know what I mean? Because reality is I'm probably not going to go through these bottles, but if I was to go through a bunch of different fragrances and empty the bottles out, these are 10 at the top of the list that I would want to rebuy immediately. So stay tuned. Starting with the ever so elusive, beautiful tropical fragrance known as Beau Parfum. It's my favorite Jean Paul Gaultier fragrance that has not changed. I don't foresee it changing in the near future. I think the only thing that's got a shot at toppling this for the most part would be an elixir flanker of this being better than this. Because I thought Paradise Garden, the last release in this line, was going to be Beau elixir. Maybe the next one. And I have really high hopes because all three versions of this fragrance are great. If you like this style, they're top level. Pineapple, coconut, greens, soapy florals, powdered tonka bean sweetness. It's very tropical, very synthetic, but strong fragrance, smells really good. This is the best of the bunch to me. You get some more green tones with the nice earthy ginger feel of Paradise Garden. You get all of the freshness, the original DNA, super tropical without the enhanced juicy fruit smell, just a little bit of citrus. In the original, you just can't go wrong with Beau, but for me, this is just so damn good. If I was to run through this bottle, I would have to seek out another one immediately. One that's a big hit in this household. It's a personal favorite of mine. It's a personal favorite of my wife. We actually both prefer it to Silver Mountain Water. It is Xerjoff's Mefisto. Yes, Mefisto Gentle Uomo's fantastic. I've noticed in my live chat, a lot of people really gravitate to that one. And it is inherently fresher than this one. It lacks some of the florals. It's not as metallic, but it's mega airy, fresh water, clean musk. This you get, I find, a little bit more citrus. Obviously, the florals are a big separator. I get more florals out of this than I do out of that, even though the Gentle Uomo flanker has more notes. I think the rose and the iris stand out more in this one. It's metallic, it's fresh. In relation to Creed Silver Mountain Water, it loses the ink, the heavy dose of inkiness from blackcurrant. You lose the green tea element completely from this, and it's all about soft powdery florals, fresh aquatic watery tones, juicy citruses, and clean musk. This smells incredible. It's super attractive. It's mega fresh. It performs great. If I was to go through this, I would absolutely have to get a bottle sooner than later. I was very late to the party on this. A lot of viewers had told me I would like it, and I absolutely love it. Bad Boy Cobalt, my favorite of the bad boys. This is some really good stuff. Juicy sweet plum at the top. It's got elements that tie it to Invictus Platinum without the green element, like as far as the fruitiness. And then as it dries, it smells a lot like Coach for Men. So this synthetic, musky, ambroxan-like, fresh, spicy, woodsy element, it actually loses some sweetness as it dries, believe it or not. Normally they get sweeter as they dry. Not this one. It actually loses some of the sweetness. I'm such a fan. It's wildly chemically synthetic. It smells so unnatural. And I could see this being headache inducing for some that are sensitive to that. But for me personally, this is one of the best all around blue fragrances I've ever smelled. I just really enjoy this fragrance. It smells so good to me. It really does. I would highly encourage checking this one out if you've never smelled it. Just know, if you're not a fan of super synthetic, you might hate this one. There's, again, nothing natural about this. Cheap oils. Definitely, I'm not afraid to say that they definitely use some cheap oils here, but the way it's blended, the accords that was created, it's super attractive to me. Highly versatile. It's sweet, but without being too designer sweet like most are these days. Not like a vanilla bomb. Man, it's just so good. If I run out of this one, I gotta have another bottle. I kind of wish I'd have bought the 150 ml. It's Bad Boy Cobalt. Now, I just don't think I'll go through the full 120 ml, but I mean, this is one of the most recommended fragrances on this channel. There's no doubt that I would have to buy another bottle of Mancera Cedrat Boise if I was to run through this bottle. Had it for a long time. It's the older screw cap version. I used to have a 10 ml. That was an even older batch. That was a supreme monster of a performer. But another thing is, it was, you know, not a factory-made decant. It was put in by another person. So the alcohol evaporates quicker, so it macerates, and the breakdown process is accelerated when you're making decants yourself, because decants tend to spoil way faster than factory-made ones. And that's kind of, I think, because this smells super, super strong and rich coming out of this atomizer. I mean, really strong. Because people will complain about they're weaker now and all that. Just give it time to macerate a little bit further. Start spraying it, start wearing it, start enjoying it. The more that juice level drops, the stronger that fragrance is going to get, because the breakdown process is going to accelerate, because as you're replacing that perfumer's alcohol and oil with oxygen, it just accelerates that breakdown process, and it continues to macerate heavily. That's why I'm dropping the juice level. That's what that finger sliding down to represent. And they just get stronger and stronger. When you get down to the bottom, like let's say a fifth of this bottle, like 20 ml left, it's going to be a heavy wearing fragrance, because it's just so, by that time, so much of the perfumer's alcohol is evaporated through the stem. Just irrelevant to the topic. Just, I don't know, people talk about that a lot with this one, and you just got to give them a little bit of time. They're not just watering the fragrance down, I promise. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, not necessarily Mancera Cedrat Boise, but just in general. I'm sure it does happen with different fragrances, but just enjoy this one, because this is, to me, one of the most versatile, best-smelling fragrances of all time. That's why I have so much to say about this one in this segment, because I'm just such a fan, such a firm believer, and an advocate for this. If this is Brock Lesnar, I'm Paul Heyman. This is the conqueror when it comes to versatile fragrances. Everybody should try it. For the money, it's hard to beat. I would absolutely have to have another freaking bottle. And yes, I know Paul Heyman's not with Brock Lesnar anymore. You wrestling marks, get over it. So moving into the next one. This one may surprise you. Some of you probably weren't expecting to see an Armaf fragrance in this video, but Club de Nuit Intense Man, limited edition Parfum. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, it may not surprise you. If you've only been here for a little while, probably surprises you that an Armaf fragrance, out of all the 2,000 plus bottles I have here, that's what made the 10 of something you would rebuy. Yeah, I love this smoky magic. This smells so good. Look, I love and respect and appreciate Creed Aventus and what it has done and the quality that it represents when you smell it. The wearing experience is superior versus pretty much everything else that's trying to smell like it. But as an individual, because this is just as different as it is the same, this has its fair share of differences, I love wearing this. So I always liked the EDT, the original. Yeah, it's wildly synthetic, sharp lemon pledge, lemon cleaner, furniture polish. I've heard all that stuff over the years from people, and I'm not going to say they're wrong. I get it. Never bothered me, though. But this smooths out that rough opening. Still has the lemon. I've always liked the lemon. It adds charm to the DNA. Rich and smoky, fruity, musky, woodsy, dark. Smoky magic, as I like to call it. Great performance. It smells on the cheaper side of things, sure. But I've gotten a lot of compliments with this one. I love the way I smell when I wear this. It's just, man, if I ever go through this bottle, I would absolutely like to add it back to the collection. This is one that I feel needs to be in my collection. If you haven't tried it, you really should. It's Club de Nuit Intense Man Limited Edition Parfum. Pretty much everyone's going to have an argument for one of the three current concentrations on the market of this fragrance, because at the recording of this, I still don't have Bleu de Chanel Elixir. Chanel, what the hell. But Bleu de Chanel Parfum is so good. I run out of this, gotta have another bottle. And it's more expensive than it used to be. This was $150 retail for 100 ml when I got it. And I was lucky enough to get a 15% off friends and family at Sephora, I believe it was, when I bought it, which is so rare to get a discount on a Chanel fragrance. Now I think 100 ml is like retail of $190 or something like that. Gotta love inflation. But I'd buy it. I would totally buy it. This is an Isui Super Cashmeran synthetic wood balm. It's warm woods, almost a resinous type of woodiness, and you still get this lemon zestiness at the top. It's not heavily smoky like the incense note that you find in the eau de parfum, but it's just refined. It's smooth. It's classy for a synthetic blue. Not that Bleu de Chanel wasn't already for what it was, a classy fragrance. I just think it's far superior to the other two versions. Some will disagree. Most people are going to pick the eau de parfum. I've procrastinated getting the eau de parfum for so long. Shame on me. One of these days, I will get a 100 ml bottle of Bleu de Chanel eau de parfum. Smelled it countless times. But for me, the parfum, this is Mount Rushmore goated kind of stuff. It's, yeah, if I ever run out of this bottle, even if it's discontinued down the line, whenever I would eventually run through this, I might have to pay a premium to get it, because I'll have to put this back in the collection. It is that good, guys. Bleu de Chanel Parfum. I like to call this the measuring stick, to which all coconut tropical fragrances wish they could be as far as lineage and respect. Now, maybe not everyone will feel the way I feel about this, but I really believe everybody that makes a coconut fragrance is just trying to make their own Creed Virgin Island water. This, if you've never smelled this and you fancy yourself a perfume lover, a fragrance enthusiast, just somebody that's really into cologne or perfumes, let's keep it simple, you owe it to yourself to smell this fragrance. And you might still deem it as just too expensive, but if there's one fragrance, one of many, I mean there's many out there that warrant the money, but especially as far as fresh stuff, because it's not as fresh as you think. It's very warm and boozy. That would command over $200 from discounters to get. It's this one. This is an experience you should have. Every version, every batch I've tried performs well. I've tried 2016 batches. This is a 2018 bottle. I've had a 2020 and a 2023 decant. They've always performed well. So sugary lime, coconut rum, juicy florals, the pina colada feel with a little touch of sunscreen, great quality, great performance, perfectly unisex. I think this fragrance is a modern icon. And if and when I run through this 50 ml, even though I got a bunch of coconut fragrances, I got several that smell very similar to this one, I would still need the real deal. This is a must-have Creed fragrance. This is a must-have for coconut fragrance lovers, coconut enthusiasts. Kara, I'm looking at you, coconut girl. Do you have this fragrance? I've been meaning to ask you. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, she's a longtime supporter and subscriber of the channel, and we call her Coconut Girl in my live stream. That is her nickname, because she likes coconut fragrances, and I've never asked her, do you have the greatest coconut fragrance? You should try it. And for anyone else watching this, if you have not tried this fragrance, please, if you value my opinion at all, get an ml or two, get a sample and try this one. It's the GOAT. I would have to put it back in the collection. It's Virgin Island water. Now, I would have to have a Stronger With You, and if I was to just rebuy one of them, because I have all of them, I love all of them, I appreciate all of them for different reasons, but if I'm rebuying just one, it's leather. It literally smells like the original plus a soft leather accord. It is so good, because I love the original DNA, hence why I love all of the flankers, because all of the flankers tie truly to the original, that roasted chestnut, sweet, spicy smell. But this one you add leather, and then it dries into the original, and I'm cool with that. The leather hangs out for a pretty good bit of time. I'm a fan. Now look, I love absolutely, intensely, the new tobacco flanker, amber, oud, all of them. Freeze, the most underrated ever. They're all really good. But if I'm just picking one that's like, yeah, if I run through all of them and I'm just rebuying one bottle, it's got to be this one. It's got to be. It just speaks to my taste. It's not too leather forward. It's not animalistic and, funky. It's very approachable, very mass appealing leather fragrance, with all that enjoyable sensuality of the sweet, spicy core of what makes Stronger With You a great fragrance in the first place. Great performance. Yeah, if I run through all of the versions of Stronger With You and I'm rebuying one, I'm rebuying leather. I feel about this kind of how I feel about Bleu de Chanel Parfum. I think they're what with how I appreciate them and how I like to wear them. This is a bit more aquatic, obviously. I think this is how you do a Parfum flanker justice in the designer world. This is Polo Bleu Parfum from Ralph Lauren. In my opinion, their best work when it comes to flankers, because this does smell like an evolution from the Eau de Toilette to the Eau de Parfum to this one, where Deep Blue Parfum was kind of its own thing. Gold Blend, definitely its own thing. Sport, minty, green, all these. The whole line's good. All of the Polo Blues, there's something for everybody. But you want the ultimate, you want the classiest, the smoothest, the most refined. There's like a dark, woody, resinous type of feel to it, but still has that iconic cucumber, melon, aquatic green tone of the original. It's all here. It lasts a long time on my skin, but it's not a loud fragrance. The lower the oil concentration, the brighter the fragrance, the shorter the longevity. That's typically how it would go. Eau de Toilette, brighter, shorter lived. Eau de Parfum lasts a little longer, wears a little closer, still brighter than a Parfum. Parfum wears closer, radiates better because it's a higher concentration, so the density is better, and longevity is great. That's typically how the evolution's supposed to go when you start cranking up oil concentrations, and they did it here. They definitely did it here, because this is arguably the weakest projecting of those three. Parfum, EDP, EDT. Longest lasting of those three. Parfum, EDP, EDT. Best smelling one of the bunch. The one that if I was going to dress up with, it's this one. Now, fortunately, I don't necessarily have to rebuy it because I do have a backup 75 ml, but in the event I ever run through both, which I won't, if I'm rebuying one version of Polo Blue, I'm definitely rebuying Polo Bleu Parfum. And last but not least, this is the #1 date fragrance in this household. This is my wife's favorite for me to wear. This is my favorite for me to wear. And I don't just wear it every time we go to dinner, every time we have a night out. I don't just do this one over and over because I like to mix it up. I've got countless variety behind me that works great in this situation, guys. But the go-to, especially when it's typically a bit more special than normal. Maybe we're celebrating something memorable and so on. That's when this one really comes out. Not just for going have a steak and her having a couple of drinks at Texas Roadhouse. It's when we're going do it up a little bit more than that. I'll pull out La Nuit de l'Homme Le Parfum. This is the favorite date night fragrance in this household for me to wear. I love it. It's my favorite YSL fragrance, honestly. Over Y Le Parfum. Yeah, I know. It's my favorite YSL fragrance. I love it. So everything that's good about La Nuit de l'Homme, just smoother, refined, and matured. Less powdery, less sweet, more aromatic, fruity is the type of sweetness here. You have fruity notes. It's a peppered spice instead of cardamom, so any powderiness comes from the lavender more so than anything else. You get a little bit of tonka bean still. It's so good. Again, it's like if you grew up with La Nuit de l'Homme, this is in your adulthood. If you still want to stick to the DNA, but you want the kind of the grown-ups version. And then, look, 60-year-old men can wear La Nuit de l'Homme and have them a good old time. I'm not saying there's an age limit to it. That's kind of how I view it. Like, this is La Nuit de l'Homme grown up. Is the best way I can view it. See what I'm saying about these Parfum flankers? I really like these designer Parfum flankers. We got a few of them in this video. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4 are designer Parfum flankers because I just like the way they evolve when they get to the Parfum flanker. And this one's no different. It's literally my favorite version of the DNA. It's my favorite fragrance from the house. So if I ever run out of this is a must. La Nuit de l'Homme Le Parfum. Well, that's my 10. Is that the only 10 that if I actually ran out on these bottles, would I rebuy? No. But when I was looking around and thinking about it, I was like, these are like the 10. It's hard to place anything above them. There's technically some that could have went this route with certain niches, but I was like, these are more my bag. So if I run out of these, which unlikely, these are the ones I'd rebuy. So I appreciate you hanging with me the whole way through this video. Please comment down below. What's that 1, 2, 5, 10 fragrances that if you happen to run out of them, you need to rebuy them. You need to add them back to the collection. Maybe there's one that you constantly do that already with. I've got a few that's the case. Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger, for example. That's a prime example. I recently rebought the original YSL L'Homme. I haven't had that in a long time. That was a rebuy that I really wanted to add to the collection. And so on. There's certain fragrances that just do it for you. Comment down below which ones those are for you. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of the 10 that I would rebuy pretty much immediately, you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.